My dear Wormwood, I note with great displeasure that your patient has become a Christian. Do not indulge in the hope that you will escape the usual penalties. Indeed, in your better moments, I trust you would hardly even wish to do so. In the meantime, we must make the best of the situation. There is no need to despair. Hundreds of these adult converts have been reclaimed after a brief sojourn in the enemy's camp. Now are with us. All the habits of the patient, both mental and bodily, are still in our favor. One of our great allies at present is the church itself. Do not misunderstand me. I do not mean the church as we see her spread out through all time in space rooted in eternity, terrible as an army with banners as that. I confess it is a spectacle which makes our boldest tempers uneasy. But fortunately, it is quite invisible to all these humans. All your patient sees is the half-finished sham Gothic erection on the new building estate. When he goes inside, he sees the local grocer with rather an oily expression on his face, bustling up to offer him one shiny little book containing a liturgy which neither of them understands, and one shabby little book containing corrupt texts of a number of religious lyrics, mostly bad. And in every small print, when he goes to his pew, he looks around him and he sees just that selection of his neighbors, whom he has avoided. You want to lean pretty heavily on those neighbors. Make his mind flit to and fro between an expression like the body of Christ and the actual faces in the next pew. It matters very little, of course, what kind of people that the next pew really contains. You may know one of them to be a great warrior on the enemy's side. No matter. Your patient thinks to our Father below. Your patient thinks to our Father below is a fool, provided that any of those neighbors sing out of tune, or have boots that squeak, or double chins, or odd clothes. The patient will quite easily believe that their religion must therefore somehow be ridiculous. At this present stage, you see, he has the idea of Christians in his mind, which he supposes to be spiritual, but which in fact is largely pictorial. His mind is full of togas and sandals and armor and bare legs, and the mere fact that other people in church wear modern clothes is a real rough, of course, unconscious difficulty to him. Never let it come to surface. Never let him ask what he expected them to look like. Keep everything hazy in his mind. Now, you will have all eternity wherein to amuse yourself by predicting in him the particular kinds of clarity which hell affords. Work hard, then, on the disappointment or anticlimax which is certainly coming to the patient during his first few weeks. As a churchman, the enemy allows this disappointment to occur on the threshold of every human endeavor. It occurs when the boy who has been enchanted in the nursery by stories from the Odyssey buckles down to really learning Greek. It occurs when lovers got married and being in the real task of learning to live together. When lovers get married and learn the last task of living together. In every department of life, it marks the transition from being aspiration to laborers. The enemy takes this risk because he has a curious fantasy of making all these disgusting little human vermin into what he calls his free lovers and servants. Sons is the word he uses with his never love of degrading the whole spiritual world by unnatural liaisons with the two-legged animals desiring their freedom. He therefore refuses to carry them by their mere affections and habits to any goals which he sets before them. He leaves them to do it on their own. And there lies the opportunity. But also remember, there lies our danger. Once they get through this initial dryness successfully, they become much less dependent on emotion, and therefore much harder to tempt. I have been writing Hearthrow on the assumption that the people in the next pew afford no rational ground for disappointment. Of course, if they do, the patient knows that the woman with the absurd hat is a fanatical bridge player, or the man with the squeaky boots, a miser and an extortioner. This is your task. Then your task is so much the easier. All you then have to do is keep out of his mind the question, if I, being what I am, can consider that I am in some sense a Christian, why should the different vices of these people in the next pew prove that their religion is mere hypocrisy and conviction? You may ask whether it is possible to keep such an obvious thought from occurring even to a human mind, and it is, Wormwood. It is. Handle him properly, and it simply won't come into his head. He has not been anything like long enough with the enemy to have any real humility yet. What he says is even on his knees is about his own sinfulness. This is all parrot talk. All bottom. He still believes he has run up a very favorable credit balance in the enemy's ledger by allowing himself to be converted, and thinks that he is showing great humility and condensation in going to church with these smug, commonplace neighbors. At all, keep him in the state of mind as long as you can. In this state of mind, as long as you can. Your affectionate uncle, Screwtape. Hey everyone, it's Tim again here. And this chapter, interestingly enough, really reminds me of, um, wow, I just forgot, legalism. There we go. Pretty much, I'm doing everything right. This is what a Christian should look like, and if you're not this way, you're not you're not a Christian. I mean, if you notice, legalism can even work for squeaky shoes or a weird hat. And a lot of times, I've even seen an argument of whether or not people should wear hats in church. Honestly, legalism did start off as trying to do the right thing, trying to be more holy. But that's the thing. Humans in their own power cannot be holy. And when they try to create their own rules and try to decide this is what they're doing without prayer, you have dissension in the church. I've even heard, I don't know this church, but I've heard a story of there was a church that was going to do a foot washing service, and they could not decide whether to start with the right foot or left foot. They got in an argument and they split over it. And to this day, one of the churches call themselves the Left Foot Baptist Church. I mean, it's good to try to be holy. It's good to do what you want God to try to be like what you want God to be. But you also want to be very careful, because the enemy will add things that are not in the Bible and try to make it look like what you're doing is the right way, and in your power it has to be this way or it's no way. And a lot of times it's things the Bible doesn't even say. Just something to think about with defeating Screwtape. And also something to pray about, because unfortunately this is something we still see a lot in church. See you guys later. Bye.